to talk about panic attacks. Now, for people who suffer with an anxiety disorder, panic attacks can be a frequent occurrence. But even for those people who are not normally prone to anxiety, they can have a panic attack when some sort of random event triggers a huge emotional response within them. Anxiety and panic attacks are all about the fight or flight mechanism. Remember that when we feel under threat, our bodies release all of these hormones and chemicals which are designed to keep us safe, because the anxiety in itself makes us cautious and aware of the danger. However, when you suffer from anxiety, this is a continuous event. What happens, of course, is that you're anxious, and your anxiety triggers the fight or flight mechanism, and you can end up with a panic attack. And from the panic attack, you get frightened. And that fear of the event, and then when it's over, fear of a future event, can trigger even more anxiety. And so it goes on. And what we have to do is to try and break that cycle. Now, panic attacks can mimic really serious conditions. When someone's having a panic attack, when someone's having a panic attack, they can feel they're having a heart attack or a stroke, or something really serious is happening to them. And they can be terrified. And that terror can bring about all sorts of emotional responses. One of the greatest emotional responses you're going to get is that actually you just can't breathe. You feel as if you can't breathe. You feel as if you're suffocating and you're panting for breath. But by even panting for breath, hyperventilating is going to make you even more frightened. It can make you feel faint. You can be sweaty, have heart palpitations, chest pains. Your fingers can tingle. All of these things can happen, and they happen in a very short space of time, and they can be overwhelming. So what we need to do is we need to control those and stop it in its tracks. So if you think you're going to have a panic attack, you feel it coming on, or even if it suddenly hits you out of the blue, you need to be able to control that, because controlling it means that you will not fear about the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very, very simple but quick technique that you can use anywhere if you feel you've got a panic attack coming on, or even if you suddenly find yourself in the middle of one. And it's called grounding, and it comes in 3 stages. And the first is grounding yourself physically. Because what you've got to do is you've got to take yourself back to reality, because your imagination is working overtime. You think you're having a heart attack, you think all sorts of things are happening to you. And you need to ground yourself physically and say, no, actually, I'm here and it's now, and it's okay. So something really simple, grab onto something. Even the pure physical act of feeling something solid will help to ground you physically. And if that's a bit too obvious, you can do other things. You could jingle your car keys, rake around in your bag, get out your mobile phone, check your texts. You can do all sorts of things, but make it physical. Make it something where you've got physical contact with something, because that is what you need. You need to know that where you are is in the here and now, and you're physically okay. The most important thing you need to do is to control your breathing. Now, there are all sorts of techniques for breathing control, but very simply, all you need to do is breathe slowly, because when you're hyperventilating, when you're panicking and you're panting, you're not oxygenating your body properly, and therefore it makes you dizzy, and the dizziness makes you feel even more panicky. All you've got to do is to control that breathing and breathe slowly. Just like that. It's simple. Just breathe in slowly. Better if you do it through your nose, because that controls it better. And out slowly. If you can control yourself enough that you can sort of count numbers, so count while you're breathing in, count to 3 or 5, hold it for a little while, and then breathe out. That will very, very rapidly bring your breathing under control. Breathing in slowly and out slowly. Having got yourself grounded physically, the next thing you need to do is to control that imagination going into overdrive. So you need to ground yourself mentally. So take the focus away from what's going on inside your head and put yourself back into reality, both physically and mentally. And to do it mentally, very, very simply, distract yourself. Distract yourself by doing something as simple as the alphabet or counting numbers, but make it a little bit more difficult. So you've actually got to think about what you're doing and not about what you think is happening to you. So count down from 99 to 0 in odd numbers. 99, 97, 95, 93. So count down in odd numbers. So you're having to think about it. Or say the alphabet backwards. Right, that'll make you think. And lastly, you need to reassure yourself, because what you're doing is you're stopping your fear of a future attack. When you feel calm and when it's subsided, just say to yourself, it's okay. I'm fine. I am stronger than my imagination. I can overcome my fears. And reassure yourself, because what you're doing is stopping yourself fearing fear itself. Now, all of this information is in the package that I've prepared, which is called Stop Anxiety. And the details of that package will be appearing at the end of this video. But remember that important piece of advice. Stop fearing